Well, welcome to Concordia Seminary, Houston. We're here at the convention at Lutheran Church, Missouri Synod, and we've been spending this whole day pulling people out of the highways and the byways to talk with them about their ministries and what they're doing. And there's always a great connection with Concordia Seminary, St. Louis. Now, who did we get from the highways and the byways but Dr. Charles Winterstein? Stein or Stein?
Stein.
Winterstein, forgive me. S-T-E-I-N.
Yes.
Winterstein. I'll just call you Chuck.
That's fine.
Dale.
That's fine.
And you're serving as the acting president of Concordia University in Ann Arbor.
I am privileged to do so.
And what does an acting president do? All right, maybe you ought to tell me, what does a president do, because I'm still trying to figure it out.
Well, we try to cover everything that a president does. In our particular situation, we have two people covering that presidential responsibility. Myself interacts with the church, theological and supervision, spiritual supervision over the university, sort of the face of the institution. And then Dr. Russell Nichols, who is our CEO, is responsible for the running of the institution. And it's an intentional interim period for him while we're without a president right now. So I've stepped up and shared that responsibility with him. So it's a different model.
Well, we have at the seminary campus a provost who takes care of the day-to-day operations.
Yes.
And then I'm externally focused, so it sounds a little bit comparable. The
Yeah.
workload, as you know very well, is just too great for one person.
It is.
Yeah.
It truly is.
What did you do before you became acting president?
I was executive vice president of the university, much involved in operations, day-to-day operations. I was also senior vice president of advancement and worked in that area.
Advancement meaning?
Meaning marketing and development.
Okay, dollars.
Raising dollars and telling the story in an effective way. And I've also been involved in student services too. So
you have a wide administrative history
yes.
that you can bring to bear in your present position.
Yes.
Lutheran Church Missouri Synod has 10 colleges and universities, 2 seminaries. And Ann Arbor has had some tough times in recent years. Could you describe that to us?
We've had some real economic tough times, particularly in the last 3 years with the collapse of the automotive industry, of course, which Detroit area is heavily dependent upon, in fact, all of Michigan. That had a great impact on our ability to sell our graduate program, which is designed for teacher ed training in the graduate area. The areas that we had targeted, the Detroit area, in the past 3 years will have closed about 150 schools and riffed over 3,000 teachers. And that's rippled out to the various suburbs. Mm-hmm. So these are folks that don't even have jobs, and it's the very market we've been selling our graduate program to. So you can see what happened. Our graduate program really went down dramatically. That had been doing very well and performing well. Now we are refocusing that, adding a number of programs in conjunction with Concordia, Wisconsin, an MBA program, which is an online program, and a number of other master's programs, counseling, our own reading masters, still aimed somewhat at teachers, but it's more diversified. And we're really trying to build up our undergraduate program, and that's a very important part for us.
Do you have an adult degree completion program?
We do have an adult degree completion program. Unfortunately, over the years, it had dwindled. Now we're trying to rejuvenate that and make it happen again.
So looking at the undergraduate programs, what do you offer? What kind of programs do you offer? I'm a high school student, and I've been blessed to have enough mind to go to college.
There are 60 majors and minors. I don't have a list of them.
60?
Yes.
Really?
But our thrust and our core business has always been teacher education, church work, pre-seminary, music. That's still our core business, and we won't deviate from that. It's still very important for us. But we know that we have to expand our offerings to serve the laity of the church too. Our future leaders of our church need to be trained, whether they're serving in a business corporation or as a nurse or as a policeman or as a doctor. So we have to train those lay leaders too. That's very fundamentally sound, I think, thinking for our church body today.
I think you're right. I remember a woman that I met, these were during my Lutheran Hour days, and she was a vice president in an automotive company.
Yes.
and she got into boardrooms that a preacher or a teacher would never be invited to.
Yeah.
And she told me stories about how in a gentle way she witnessed to what is good and right and salutary, and in some cases affected things that the company was going to do. So I think you're right. Our universities have to provide good education for the vocations of Christian lay people, as well as church workers.
The principles of Christian education apply whether it's preschool, elementary school, junior high, high school, or college and graduate school. The same principles of Christian education are critical for all of our people and to reach out to the people in general in our communities.
Has it been difficult to recruit students?
It is difficult, has been difficult, particularly in the recent years because of the economy. The cost of education has not gone down any. We've tried to hold the line on that, but it's still expensive. And it has been a real difficulty. Donors, of course, have stepped up to the plate and been instrumental in providing scholarships, and that has truly been a blessing. But we have struggled with that, particularly in an undergraduate program.
Are your revenues mainly from tuition?
Yeah, we're tuition-based.
Okay. Unlike the seminary, which is donation-based.
Yes, we do have good and faithful donors, but we are definitely tuition-driven. And there is no other source of income. So it's either tuition or it's donations. And if you're low on undergraduate enrollment, that makes it a bit tough.
Yeah, in the Great Recession we've gone through, I've come across various articles talking about how tuition-driven institutions are struggling.
Yeah.
The seminary is donation-driven to a large extent, but we're also struggling because the discretionary giving has been less. What does the future look like? What are the things that you're putting in place, your board, your faculty want to put in place to secure the future for Concordia University?
Well, there is a future for Concordia Ann Arbor, and I firmly believe that we're positioned correctly right now to do some great things. We're just going through a strategic planning process, which we're going to wrap up by this fall, and focus on what we believe will be probably the 3 to 5 strategic issues that we have to do and have to do now. We've done a number of things, launched targeted programs in our Hobbs School of Business, our MBA program, for example, reaching out to the community with that. We've done some targeting of programs in extracurriculars, such as the introduction of football. Never in the history of our university have we had football. We had 13 sports, and this year we're launching football for the first time. Nate Robbins, our head football coach, and his coaching staff are just dynamite guys. And their Victory for Life program is targeting young men that have a Christian perspective, believe and support the mission and ministry of the institution, but yet are still tough and want to play football and aggressive. And that program will bring in about 50 new men this fall, and we'll be playing this fall. And by next year, that roster will be up to about 110.
So you'll be playing the University of Michigan?
Not in football, but interestingly enough, on August 6th, we have an invitation from the University of Michigan to play them in basketball. And we'll be playing U of M on August 6th at the Chrysler Arena.
No kidding.
No kidding.
Well, they've had some tough years. Maybe.
That's what my athletic director, Ben Limbeck, said. He said they must need a win.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, that's great.
But that's exciting.
I made it as a joke, but here we're talking about something that's actually going to happen.
That's actually going to happen.
Strategic planning, I've learned at the seminary, is critically important. It used to be the church, colleges and seminaries could just kind of operate. You know? I mean, we didn't have to justify our existence. We just operated. That's the way it was set up. But now nothing is assured for the future.
No.
And without a strategic plan, and one that targets what you want to do, survival is a tough thing.
Yeah, and well, we have 10 different committees in 10 different areas. They're going to come up with 2 to 3 different ideas. Those all come into a pool, and of those 40 or so, 30 ideas and concepts and initiatives, we'll choose 2 to 3, or maybe 4. But it's then a decision made and then full speed ahead on these initiatives that we have to do.
Last year we prepared for the first time in a long time a booklet, our strategic plan, and it's got all these wonderful ideas in it. This year what we're doing is identifying the 3 things that we're going to go after.
Yes.
It's all hands on deck to get
Yes.
these 3 things accomplished. Then next year, 2, 3 more things, and
Yeah.
absolutely necessary. So that's the right thing to do. Changing altogether. You've got a beautiful campus. Would
Yes,
you
we do.
describe that campus for our viewers?
Yes, 186 acres of prime real estate within Ann Arbor, the 5th largest landowner in Ann Arbor, right along the riverfront of the Huron River. It's just a gorgeous setting, beautiful at all times of the year, beautiful summers and springs and falls, even winter. When the snow is falling, it's just a gorgeous campus. Our chapel is a landmark chapel with a wonderful organ and facilities there, seating for about 700, and the rest of our facility is a good facility. It's very sound. It's also very dated, though. Built in 1963.
I remember when the campus began.
Yes, we really need to do some updating and adding to that facility. But that aside, we have a gorgeous setting with prime land that is set between University of Michigan and Eastern Michigan in a knowledge corridor and a medical corridor of Ann Arbor that is just a prime location for Lutheran education to happen, Christian education to happen.
You mentioned corridor. You're right on M23.
Yes.
You're convenient to reach
Yeah.
by car. You're
And
not
by-
very far from the Detroit airport.
About 20 minutes from Detroit Airport.
Yeah, so it's a prime location.
Yes.
If I'm a young person or I have children who are looking at college, what would it be about Concordia Ann Arbor that is special that maybe the University of Michigan or
Yes.
Eastern, which are fine
Can't do,
schools,
yes.
can't do? What's your particular niche?
What differentiates us? I think a personalized Christian approach to education. This is an education where a student can come in and they interact with the professor. They're not one of 350 in a class that are working with a GA. They're interacting with a professor. That professor gets to know them personally, takes an interest in them personally, knows that they have something to lose if they don't invest in that person. And they want to see that person become a viable citizen for the future. So it's not unusual for a student that does not show up to class to get a phone call on their cell phone or a text message from their professor. So it's a personalized approach. It's also a Christian setting. It's our mission and ministry. And I think a student that comes there is set apart. We can do things there ethically, morally, in a Christian context that the University of Michigan can't do. They just they have their hands tied, or Eastern Michigan, or many other ones. So I think what differentiates us, personalized Christian education, ethical, moral. It's also a family. People that come there become assimilated in that family very quickly. They know one another across campus. They're not, again, one of thousands, so they really get to know one another. And it's also a place where they have multiple opportunities to participate. It may be in athletics, it may be in music, it may be in student government or student life or in drama, but they have opportunity to participate, which they wouldn't have necessarily in a very large university.
A parent is understandably apprehensive about dropping a kid off at college.
Oh yeah.
And been there, done that. But when you drop a child off at Concordia Ann Arbor because of this family situation,
Yes.
and the care of the faculty and the staff for the individual, your level of anxiety
It goes down.
can be less.
And we can give them a Big Ten experience in a Big Ten town with the safe environment of a Concordia University.
I bet you a lot of your students, when on off hours, hang out with the UM.
Yes, particularly the University Chapel. We have a lot of students that go down there for chapel on
Really?
Sundays. But they have opportunity to go to U of M games or Eastern games. So they get that Big Ten town experience. But they come back to Concordia University, which is a safe environment where the parents know we take care of those kids.
So now the Big 10 is actually the Big 12.
Yeah,
The Big 12 is actually the Big 10.
Yeah.
And Concordia Ann Arbor is someplace in all those numbers.
Yep.
Great.
And this year we're going to play one of the Big 10 in Michigan, so that's an exciting time.
Well, we'll look forward to hearing how that turns out. Chuck, I've got something I want to share with you. This is a production by our Concordia Seminary faculty. The American Mind Meets the Mind of Christ. It's exactly what a Christian and a Lutheran university is up to, dialoguing with the culture that we've got, and to create this discussion, this engagement between the culture that we've been privileged to experience because of the work of God in our lives and the American mind, which is someplace else. So on behalf of Concordia Seminary, I'd like to give this to you, and we can send you a lot more copies if your faculty would like them.
Thank you so much. I'll make sure that our faculty gets introduced to this.
Very good. God's blessings to you, to the university,
Thank
and
you.
thanks for spending the time with us here at Concordia Seminary, Houston.
My pleasure. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Chuck. Blessings.